Good morning, everyone. Get connected to the webinar and then we'll get started. Right, so good morning. Thanks for attending today's webinar on the application generator. First, some introductions. I'm Christine, Head of Customer Services at Meditech, and with me is a recent addition to the team, James Wright-Smith. He's taken on the role of account manager, and I'm expecting that you will all be contacted by him in the coming months as he starts to work and liaise with more of our clients. Today, we want to explain and educate about the application generator. It's a really flexible tool which helps you to access Priority from devices other than a PC or laptop. You can use it for those users who need to access only a single screen for a specific job, or to speed up access to data when not in front of a PC. You can make these screens yourself or use the standard ones which come out of the box. If you've got any questions during today's webinar, please use the Q&A box to fill these in, and we'll do our best to answer these at the end. So enough from me, I will hand over now to James. James.
Thanks for that, Christine. And for those that I haven't spoken to, like Christine said, I'm the new account manager at Meditech. And really, I'm just here to bridge the gap between you and us and make those relationships more successful for us both. So I look forward to meeting you all. And today we're going to show you some features of the app. It's not death by PowerPoint, but I do have a couple of slides before we go into the actual app itself and the software. So we're just going to talk about the points that we're going to cover today. Okay. So to start with, what is it and why? Then we'll have a look at a couple of standard apps, and then we're going to show you a couple of custom apps. There's a bit of a chat about licensing, and then obviously any questions, as Christine mentioned earlier. So start at the top, what is it and why? It's not replicating the software in a mobile or a tablet screen because it wouldn't really work. It's too complex. I'm sure you can understand how that would be an issue. And it's also not how people interact with on a mobile or a tablet device. It's about different users doing different things. And that's given us an opportunity for different licensing as well, which we'll talk about a bit later. So to have a look at some of the standard apps, they kind of cover service, sales, production, and authorizations. And they're really for people that are out on the road, on the shop floor, not at their desks. We're going to show you a couple of the standard ones. There's about 17 in total. There's some of the others listed on the screen. But others worth noting are CRM, parts, service calls, inventory count. I've spoken to a few people in the last few weeks that have talked to me about getting rid of the paper and inventory count and just putting the data straight into the software. So this would allow that to happen. Really just gives the data that you need in a format for mobile and tablet. So I'm just going to jump into one. Just bear with me. I will share another screen. So you should start to be able to see my mobile. And if we go into that, we can see there's a Priority mobile in the top and bottom left-hand corner. I just click on that. It's available from the App Store or from Google Play. And you just have a little look at the app. I'm logged in with the same credentials as I would be in the normal software, so there's nothing different there. And I've got all those permissions that I normally have. So we're just going to jump into purchase approval. So I just click on the tile, click on my list of purchase orders, and then that brings me up. If I just search for one, that will bring me up a list of purchase orders that I have. And as we can see, some of them are authorized, and I've got one here pending authorization, and I can see this very, very top level summary. So I just go into that. And this gives you the top line detail, that's sort of the totals of everything, etc. And you obviously could authorize from here, but if you want to know what that order is made up of, we can drill down and have a look at the next level and have a look at our individual items. So we can change the quantity in here, we can write remarks, comments, whatever we would like to do at this point. Then we just go back up to main screen. So at this point we could reject it if we wanted to, but we're not. We're just going to be very simple in this first example and authorize it. So I click on the three little dots in the bottom right hand corner, and I don't have what I need to have. Just bear with me a second. Go to the right place to authorize it, the top screen, rather than just authorizing individual lines, because it wants us to authorize it as a whole. So we're going to authorize this purchase order. I click on that. And then we get the expected message that we'd normally get in the software. And this is an example of how all those messages are carried through into the mobile app. So I click on OK there. And if I go back into my list, I can see that it is authorized. It will be authorized in the software itself as well, because they're obviously linked. So that is that purchase order approved. So that's that done. We're just going to move on to the shop floor and look at production and look at a different way that you could use the software and some other features. So I'm just going to go into that. So I'm going to do some reporting production. I've raised a work order already. It's a new report, so I'm going to click on new. And then I need to put the work order number in, obviously. If you can see that on the right-hand side, there's a little barcode. And what that does, it turns my mobile device into a barcode scanner and recognizes that barcode. So if I just click on that, you can see my mobile device, and I'll just scan a barcode. That puts my work order number. So if you've got a sheet on the desk with your work order on it and you're trying to record against it, as long as you've got that barcode, you can do that. I'm going to do the same thing with my employee ID. So I've got a badge, for example, with a barcode on it. I can just do that, and that's my employee ID in as well. So those are the two automatic things that I can do that make life easier for everybody. I can put in the labor that I've recording for this report. So from 4 till 5. Then the quantity that I've completed, either using the keyboard or using the app, the buttons. I can put a defect in here, I can reject some, etc. But I'm just going to do that. And one thing that's worth noting at this point is, if you're not interested in a lot of these lines here, what you can do, and what I'll show you a bit later, is you can duplicate the app and take out those lines so that your users only see exactly what you want them to see, so they're not confused with lots of different things that they don't need to fill in. You can make it as simple as possible for them and make it as easy as you need it to be. So that's that done. Those are the two standard apps that you could just use out of the box. We're just going to look at the app generator next. So I'm just going to pop into the software itself. So as you can see, standard priority software. And I'm just going to go into this menu here, and it's in system management, generators, applications, and then obviously application generator, as you would expect. And we're just back at a simple priority form, as you might expect. So I'm just going to, all I need to do at this top level is give it a name. So and all I'm going to do is create a really simple app for somebody out on the road. Just wait a second. Just put the language in. Somebody that's out on the road in a van, or somebody like me that is going to visit a customer in a car, and I just want to know where they are. So we're thinking about customers, so I'm just going to put in customers here, and that will bring me up the customer form. So just click on that, and you just tell it that F for a form, and that's that done. So we're now unlocking the customer form, as it were. And these are all the fields that we can add. There are a lot, obviously. I'm not going to scroll through them all, but as you can see, there are a lot of data points that we can select. So we're just going to do something very simple just to show you how easy it is to do. And I'm just going to look at a customer. I want their name, number and their name. I'm interested in their phone number because I might want to call them, their email address in case I need to send them a quick email to say I'm running late or whatever. And then I'm interested in their street address. I'm going to do their address. And let's get down to their postcode. So that's me. I've chosen what I want to actually get. I'm just going to do, what I found is if I do an F11 search here, then that brings it up quite nicely and I don't have to scroll through everything. So I've got everything that I need all in one place. These are all the fields I'm going to put in. I just put in positions in them, the sort of order that I want to see them in, and I'm putting those in pens so I can add something in at a later date or change the order more easily. So then we've got these few columns. The record is what I want to see in the main record, so that's what I've chosen already. What I want to see in the preview will show me on that first tile. So I'll put in the customer name, their phone number, maybe their street address, and their postcode. I need to be able to search for customer name, so I'm mark that as searchable. Obviously, you can use any of these fields, but customer name is sensible in this example. And I just need to tell the software that this is a phone number, this field. So I'll put in P there. And that's effectively my job done. It's made. I just need to send it to my phone. So as you can see at the top here, I've got a few activations. So I've got refresh application. So if I had made a change, I can refresh it. I send the link to the app. We'll see that happen in a minute. But I also have in these actions duplicate application. And that's what we were talking about in reporting production. I could duplicate the application, remove some of the lines, and then that would be just my my custom app made for me without having to build it from scratch like I've done here. I'm just going to send the link to the app. And what this does, it sends a QR code to my email address. Click on OK. Okay, and then I'm just going to swap back to the app. So back to my app. You can see that. Now this happens quite quickly, so I shall try and bring the phone across so you can see it. If I press the plus button, it turns the phone into a scanner again, and if I move it across, it will scan the QR code. So that's my lookup address app. I open it up. And then I see my customer list. I type in a search.
Sorry, James, we can't see it on the screencast.
Just bear me a second.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. What did we miss? Everything.
The scanning of just that scanning of the app. So,
okay, I could do that again. So
perfect.
if I delete that, and I click on the plus, can you see that?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, I just go to the mobile. Do that again. So that has added it to that thing. Sorry about that.
Technology, eh?
Yes. There we go. It's going okay on mine.
That's fine. We can see it now.
Okay, yeah. Cool. All right. So I just go into that. I can see my customer form. And then I just need to search for a customer. And there we have it. We can see those are the 4 items I selected for my preview screen. And then I can go into that, and those are all the lines that I selected to be in the main screen. And as we can see, there's a telephone and an email symbol next to those numbers, so that we could use our phone's ability to do that from there, but we can also do it from the front screen, which is quite nice. So I can swipe to the right, and then that unlocks these things on the right hand side, and I can press the call button, and that will interact with my phone, put the telephone number in directly, so I can just call them from my phone. The same thing with the email address. We'll just create an email. I can send that from my email address on my phone. I'm not going to do that. And then quite nicely, it will also plan my route. So it will look at my maps. It will find where Twickenham Stadium is. And this is all interacting with my phone. It's not effectively part of the app. It's just an interaction. I can press directions. And I can see that in London traffic, it'll take me 12 minutes to go that 2.5 miles. So that is my plan. I could just click on go and put that in the car, and there I am. So that's a couple of the standard apps and one of the custom ones. And Christine is going to show you one that she's done as well. I'm going to stop sharing at this point. There we go.
Thanks, James. So the app we will show now is one which is based on a packing slip. I'm going to show some new functionality called batch scan, which eliminates the need for lots of keystrokes when scanning. It allows you to just open the form, select scan, and just scan again and again and again until everything is done. It could be useful in so many different scenarios in the business, like picking, packing, shipping, stock counting, the list goes on. So the batch scan is defined in the app generator, which James showed us a moment ago, by selecting S against a particular form column, which should be scanned in batch. Here in this example, I'm using the batch number or the work order of the stock. And that's all that's needed to define it as a batch scan field. So let's imagine a scenario where I have a sales order which needs to be picked. And we're going to send that sales order document down to the store area so that they can find the inventory and scan it onto the packing slip. So let's imagine that scenario. I've picked the stock and I'm now in my app. Hopefully you can see.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So I'm going to click on batch scan, so batch pack sales order. And here I'm taken to the packing slip. I use my new packing slip and I select new to create my packing slip. In the customer number, I'm going to select England Rugby, which is the example James was just working with. And all the expected details like the date and the warehouse are filled in for me, just like they would be on the form. I then select the order which is open and get a message that I've already started doing other packing slips. I'll say okay to that. Again, that's just the standard message that you would see if you're in the normal form. Then I can go to packed items. And once I'm in here, I'm presented with the option when adding a line to scan barcodes. So if I select scan barcodes, we'll see here that I'm just covering up the barcode because I don't want it to scan it. I can see here that I've got a fridge and I've got this batch number and I've got 3 of them. So then as I scan the barcode, that batch has been added to the packing slip. And this is the next one, where I have 60 of that inventory available. Finally, my last fridge, which was a different part number. So once I've done all that, I click done. And what we can see now is that we've got 3 fridges packed from the first batch, 7, which was I had 60 available and I picked 7 for this particular packing slip, and then the 5. So what I've done here is I've got business rules on the form. That means that it automatically fills in the quantities for me based on how many I actually needed for this packing slip. So once I've done that, I can then edit them if I wanted to. So maybe I only had 6 of this particular fridge. So I could say that I only found 6 and just use the minus key to change that. And then when I click save, it's saving that directly back into the packing slip for me. Finally, I've finished my work and I go to the status and change it to final. And then if I do save and new, then it would allow me to create my next packing slip. So you can see how that would be really useful for just scanning. So as well as everything we've seen today, you can also print reports, get signatures, print labels and more with each new version that's being added. So James, back to you to tell us a little bit about how it's licensed.
Thank you for that, Christine. I'm just going to talk about licensing, as Christine mentioned. There's a fee for the Priority mobile and app generator. It's only a couple of £100 currently. And what that does is gives access to all your standard users to the Priority mobile app. So all your full users will have access to the software. What you could do is buy it and start creating your own apps straight away and give those to your standard users. Test it, see how you get on with it. What it's also allowed Priority to do is create some new users for this that are they recognized are only going to have limited use. And that's meant that they can offer them for a much lower cost than a normal standard user. So if you are interested in this, then it's worth getting a tailored quote to see how much it might actually cost you to go ahead with it as a project, because it might be a lot less than you think. So if you want a tailored quote or a further demo, then certainly get in touch with us and we'll do that for you. Just a note about our previous webinars. They are all on the website or on our YouTube channel. You can share them with colleagues. They've got some really useful things in there. I've used the hints and tips a lot in the last few weeks while I've been starting off, because it's been really useful for me to get those. So most people will get something out of those, particularly if they're new to the software or new to the web version or whatever. This will obviously join them. So you'll be able to refer to this and send it on to colleagues if you do want to go ahead, if you want something to show somebody what we've been talking about. Really, that's the end of what we've got to say. I mean, do you have anybody have any questions? Do we have anything to answer in the Q&A, Christine?
Yeah, we have a question from Mark asking, when would error messages fire when using the batch scanning function? So Mark, it really depends what the error message is. If it's completely unable to scan the thing that you've scanned, you know, if it just doesn't recognize it at all in the field that it's going into, it would error immediately. Otherwise, it will error at the end of this scanning. I think I saw another question there in the... So somebody down here is asking, can some thought be given to the button press? Oh, sorry, it's gone. Yes, so Dan's asking if the way when you scan in the barcodes, it can be very fast at picking up the next available barcode, and you can almost scan too many by mistake. The way that can be dealt with is by using the scan instead of the camera option when you use the app, but that doesn't allow you to batch scan. So we're currently talking to Priority about what can be done about that and adding that functionality. So there is some thought being given to that, Dan. And there's another one there. E.
Sutton asked, does this function with Apple software the same as Android? And yes, it does. We had some problems with screen share, but Christine was going to show you it on her Apple phone. But yes, absolutely the same from the App Store, looks the same, interaction the same way, all the same functionality. So yes.
And also it works on the bigger screens as well. So we've showed you today an Android phone. It works on an iPhone, an iPad, a tablet as well. So if you're in a production environment or something and you need a bigger device, which is more rugged, you can use those as well, as long as they can download the app. Okay, I think that's all the questions.
Answered. Yes. So obviously, if you've got any questions, then later on, then do let us know. We're really happy to answer them. get in touch if you want to talk more about the licensing, etc., or the app itself. And thanks everybody for listening.
Thanks, bye.
Thanks, bye.